All right, let me do a quick audio test, make sure my voice is working before we get going. Testing, just let me know if it's A-OK. Okay, music seems to be working good. Let me just do a quick check on the audio before we get going here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Just let me know out there that you can hear me okay and it's clear. All right, looks like we're good to go. All right, audio seems good. All right, we'll get started real shortly here. All right, well, welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Great to have everybody here. And today, of course, is September 29th, 2023. So the next time we see you next week, it'll be in October. So I hope everybody's doing good out there. All right, so quick rundown on Stock Analysis Friday. The purpose of this is everybody comes and brings a couple stocks and we look those up. And by the end of the session, we're usually able to do an analysis on those stocks and find out which ones really are the best ones that you can take advantage of. And the idea also too is that even if you have a stock that maybe somebody's recommending, bring it here. We'll look it up and give you an overview on the technicals on that to see if the technicals agree with maybe the analyst or whoever is recommending that. So that's the purpose of this. And you can go ahead and type your stocks in now. You can type them in caps. And then when I get to them, of course, I'll go down one by one and just start with the first one until we complete the session. The session usually runs about an hour. All right, so that's pretty cool. And sometimes at the end of the day, if we have time, we'll look at some of the intraday markets because we run a day trading room as well, and in the futures market, so we can look at some of the more popular futures at the end of the session. All right, so go ahead and start typing those in. Let me go through a few quick administrational things I have to run through. First thing I have to, of course, is brief you is on the risks involved in trading. There are risks. We deal in a realm of probabilities when we trade the market, not certainty. So therefore, past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. It is possible to lose some or all your money trading or even investing in the financial markets. So you need to be aware of that. And to protect yourself, use risk capital, money you can afford to risk in the markets. We also can teach you how to do trade size calculations on each and every trade so you can control your trade risk. So that's something where we're really good at it. I've been doing it for a long, long time, written a couple of books specific on that. And I'll show you those in just a moment. And then finally, we don't know your personal situation, but your money manager or financial advisor does. So definitely run any of the ideas that we talk about here past them first before actually either entering a trade or acting on a recommendation. It's important because, again, we don't know your personal situation, they do, and there's a lot of factors that go into determining if a trade is suitable for you. All right, so other than that, we welcome everybody here today. All right, so here's our books that we have available. And basically what I'll do in the recording is I'll put a timeline up of everything we talk about today. And in that timeline, I'll put a link up for the books as well. So you'll be able to order our books, or you can go to our webpage at traderscoach.com and order those in there. Okay, so I got 2 books on money management that can help you with that area. My new book, The Art of Trading, 2nd edition on the far right, being published by Wiley, is coming out pretty soon. And this is going to be one of the best books I think I've ever written. There is a lot of new and very good material in there since my first book came out in 2008 on the topic. And so we also cover a lot of our newer software since then as well. So definitely check that out. We also have a variety of software tools that we use when we enter and exit the market. You'll see those today when I look at charts, and I'll run over those with you. But we have tools that look at price patterns. We have tools that look at momentum. We have also scanners to find stocks in futures or even Forex markets that we like to trade. And then we have the risk control software at the bottom. So a whole suite of software tools that really help you navigate the trading environment. And then finally, please give us a like. Do it right now. All right. The more likes we get, the better this video does. So give us a like right now. And also too, definitely, bring anybody that you know that's interested in the markets to this, because the more people we get, the more stocks we get, the more opportunities we get. All right, so let me come out of here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and exit out here and go over my setup first. I've got an ETF called USO loaded, but before I get there, let me just run over what you're looking at here. So if you're new here, basically, our software works on a variety of different charting platforms. This happens to be NinjaTrader, but it also works on TradeStation. It also works on multi-charts, eSignal. And for those that get into technical analysis, you'll be very familiar with those charting platforms. What we do here is we use multiple time frame analysis. And in multiple time frame analysis, basically, we have 3 charts. We have the chart on the left, which is our 60-minute chart. And what that means is every price bar in this chart represents an hour, 60 minutes. Now, why do we do that? Because that gives us a good short-term look at the markets. In the middle chart, we have what we call the daily chart, and this gives us an intermediate look at the market. So every price bar represents a full day here. And this pretty much is with a common chart that most people use. So that's why it's our primary chart in the center. And on the far right, we have the weekly chart, which gives us a long-term look where every price bar represents a full week of trading. So that's 5 trading days built into one price bar. And the reason we do that is because it gives us a good longer-term view, cuts out a lot of noise, and gives us a clearer view at times of what's going on in the markets. And then, of course, you can see our software embedded in the chart. And notice we have these pyramids here, all right? And these are pyramids that are designed to give you the highest probability of entries and exits, and also places to put your stop. They use fractal pivot points in the market, and they also take into account momentum. And then at the bottom here, we have the owl, which just measures momentum in a histogram format. We have the PTF, all right, that gives us a great indication when it's green, like it is now, that eventually will turn and take out this high. And this has a 75% probability, so pretty high. All right, and then we have the TLM, Trendline Master down here. And then finally, at the very, very bottom, we have the ERI, Emotional Reader Index ribbon. So if you want to learn more about those, you can check out our website. We have full explanations on all that kind of good stuff. All right, so those are the charts. At the top, we have our scanners running, but we're not going to be using those today. All right, so let me just go over USO. You know, you've been recommending this one, and we're still recommending it. It's probably due for a pullback pretty soon. If not, we're kind of in it now, but I don't think it's quite over. So we're kind of looking at a pullback, probably back into the 70s, right around 78 to about 75 before it should resume its move back up. So we're very bullish, like I said, on that. But right now, probably it's going to take a little pause, a little profit taking. And so that's kind of where we're at now. So I would just hold off on this a little bit here, and we'll take a look at it again. So I'm not going to recommend this right particularly now because it's in a pullback situation. But if you're long and you're doing this long term, you know, you're going to have your stop way under here in this area here. So you're good to just hold this. Our target is about 99 to 124. So we're looking at more upside potential on USO, which is the ETF for crude oil. Unfortunately, going up like that will mean higher prices at the gas pump for everybody. So not a bad hedge. You know, if you took a long position here, it may offset some of the prices you are paying at the gas pump. All right, so let's see what we got cooking. Okay, Stuart wants to look at gold. All right, so pretty much gold has been in. Why has gold been in the news lately? Anybody want to chime in? Why is gold in the news? Anybody? Why is gold in the news? Well, primarily Costco came out and started selling gold bars. Now, I have to be honest with this. Anytime something hits the general public like that, it's usually done. Okay, and I don't want to poo-poo gold at this point. If anybody's bought the gold bars, you'll do fine long term. But it's kind of like, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like when being a stockbroker 25 years ago was such a tough industry to get into because there was so much money in it. And then soon as they said, basically, as soon as Prudential Securities and all these companies started advertising for stockbrokers, literally in the classifieds, you knew the business was done. And it's very similar to this because of the fact that gold now is becoming so public that usually it's over. So let's take a look at it here and see if it is over indeed. So I'm going to open up the weekly chart here. And notice here, I'm going to write some Elliott wave configuration. So Elliott wave basically assigns 5 waves to any major trend. So this is the 3 that occurred back in 2011. Then we had a long basing 4. And now we're on our final leg up to 5. So 5 does need to go above 3. So that has been met. Looks like we have a little bit more highs coming based on this indicator here. So it looks like probably we'll get above here. So you're probably good, probably for about 220 maybe on gold, I would think. And a little bit higher, so we're at 172. So there does look like there's some up room to that. But after that, that may be it, okay, for quite some time. And when I say quite some time, I mean years, maybe a decade. So just be cautious of that. Nothing wrong with diversifying into a little gold right now, especially with another high. But if it breaks another high in terms of trading, we would start selling it, okay, just so you know. So that's my take on gold. Now, short term, if you look at these charts at the bottom, gold's still pulling back. All right. So this would not be a time for you to buy it in the markets, okay, because it is pulled back and it's not done yet. So you can probably get a better price if you wait on it a little bit. All right. So that's that. All right. Let's go into ZM and see what's cooking there. All right. So Stuart, this one is for you. Okay. So ZM. All right, so ZM, not a lot of history, okay? If you look at the weekly chart, we go back to, it looks like about 2019, which in the stock markets is not that much. So it went way up, and now it went way down, okay? So almost looks like crypto, right? All right, so We have a lot of green showing on the short-term charts in terms of the PTF. All right, the owl is now turned green, and now we've got green on the 60-minute chart. So this is looking really, really good. We also have a low that could be a significant bottom, and we have a pyramid here. All right, a couple things you want to do here. One is, let's just draw for a moment what a long-term possibility would be for a retracement here. All right, probably getting up to 198 to 284. So that's a double your money. So if you want to stay in this for years, because that's what it would take, you could go into this and then put your stop. I would put my stop right here, okay, at the very bottom. You're so close to that now. The problem of possibly going in now is you may get stuck in some type of sideways channel before it moves. All right, or if this is not the bottom, you could get stopped out. But this is not a bad one for a long term, especially with the lower time frames. So I'm going to put ZM down as a good trade for a long term, but that stop's got to be at the bottom. Now, short term, okay, we have no pyramids to the upside yet. So I would probably wait for this to retrace and then go and get in here, something like that. The PTF saying we got a pretty good slam dunk up to about 76. So I would probably wait for the pullback, because normally, not always, but normally when you have a big move off a bottom, all right, it's when that ends, and it could go higher, of course, when that ends, then you get that big pullback. And the pullback could be deep enough almost to form a double bottom. So I would wait for that at this point. But yes, I'm bullish on ZM, okay? So that's a good one. All right, WU, Western Union. Let's see what's cooking on that one. All right, so Western Union, big move down on this, all right? Looks like it might have a bottom of some sorts here, but we have a red PTF on the weekly chart. So the best we can hope for here is some form of retracement, and that retracement could get as high as $16 to $19.60. So this would be a counter trend move. So if this was a 3, what you're doing here is trading the 4, okay? Looks like we have a bottom because we have the move up. There's our move back down, and now we exceeded it. So that's really good in terms of identifying now the corrective move in place. So that looks pretty good. Now, we do not have bearish divergence, which is really good in the owl. I don't think, well, I guess we maybe do right here. All right, so that's kind of a little bit, all right, so you're getting in awful late. After 4 of these pyramids, it's pretty late to get into a trend. So this would have to be a long-term trade only, with the idea behind holding it for possibly quite some time until it reaches that longer-term target. In terms of a short-term trade, I probably at this point here would not do it. It's too late. I don't like chasing trends, and it goes under the old adage, is it safer to get in here or get in here? All right, here, right? So if you're in it already, well, you trail your stops up, okay, and take profits when it corrects. That's easy. But when it's a decision to get in, I probably wouldn't do it at this point, okay? That's how I kind of work that. All right, next one I want to take a look at is TLT for the bonds. Now on TLT, all right, we had a situation earlier where, you know, she's coming down. Whoops, let me get this on the right time frame for this one. So she's coming down quite a bit, okay? And we're getting closer and closer to a bottom here. So in a case like this, I still wouldn't go in. All right, I know people are anxious to get in, but it's not done yet. Still going down, okay? So hold off on that for sure. I would definitely not go in on that yet. But keep watching it. Put that on the watch list, because when TLT bottoms, I think that's going to be a really, really good one at some point. All right, let's take a look at silver. All right, silver's another one here. All right, silver's kind of interesting because it's kind of forming a pennant here. If you look, pennant is a form of technical analysis where you can connect sloping bottoms and highs. And there's your pennant. So the idea is the more compressed it gets in here, eventually, according to this form of technical analysis, eventually it will break, and whichever way it breaks, that has significance. So that's kind of where we're at now. In terms of what we're looking at here, it's kind of a little bit of a messy market. So if you're interested in getting into silver, I don't think you need to be in a rush, because I think probably you've got another several months where it's probably going to be inside this pennant, not really go anywhere. But we'll watch it so you don't miss it. But if you want to accumulate some now, would this be a good time? Perhaps. All right, as the price stays fairly consistent, you might be able to get a good price on it. But you know, in terms of this thing moving anytime soon, I don't think so. Okay, I think you got time on that. All right, what else we got out there? Let's take a look at the housing market real quick. I know people are interested in that these days as well. And, you know, it's taken a dive, okay? So housing's been going down, plummeting, especially since the summer. And you can see this quick move down over here. So we're making new lows now in the housing market. And probably you can see that, you know, real estate's very local. So you got to see how it's doing in your local area. But the higher rates and the fact that supply is so low right now because nobody wants to sell their home because they'd have to move someplace else with higher rates, creates a problem. Now, it's also interesting out there. I read an article that if you're downsizing, this is a great time to sell because the inventory is low. All right, chances are your house will sell, and then you downgrade into something that maybe it's all cash. Okay, if you can do an all cash situation, that's a great deal. So people that have owned a home and have that equity and then sell it and downgrade into an all cash thing, it's great because you can get a great buy as well. Okay, so that's not such a bad thing to do. All right, let's see what else. Let me move on to some of your picks here. Let's go to Alexander. Hello, Alexander. WEAT. WEAT. Okay, so this baby's coming down too. You're probably thinking about what you want to do in terms of your watching, whether it's a long. I like the fact you're watching it because you know me. I like to get in when trends emerge, and this is hopefully going to emerge at some point to the upside, if not now, but soon. All right, so it's not quite ready yet, and the reason I say that is we got the red PTF over here, red here, we got red here. This is a good sign, okay, and this is a good sign. So this is what makes it worthwhile to watch, right? So I would just wait. I think we're still coming down a little bit, and I would put this on a watch list, okay? WEAT, okay? Watch list on that. So keep watching that and, you know, bring it back next week too. All right, let's take a look at MRO. All right, so this may be picking up into a new move to the upside. Let me just check to see if it's retraced enough. All right, so it looks like it has. It's gone into the retracement target. That's excellent. However, this is causing me problems here. All right, this and this. So with those red, it looks like we're probably going to go back into the target. So those have got to go green before I could consider, or at least yellow, before I can consider a long term. So we got to put this one on hold. All right. And then XME. All right. So XME, kind of a messy chart on the daily. You've almost got a pennant forming in here as well. Check this out. Kind of like silver. Remember silver? So there's your pennant there. So whichever way it breaks could be decisive. Let's just say that. We have a red PTF here. All right. So that's calling for prices to come back down into this area here. So it probably will zigzag and remain in the pennant for a while. All right. So I don't think I would take that one at this time. I don't think it's quite ready yet. Not with a red PTF on the 60. Cool though. All right. Let's see what we got here. Billy, if you're here, how are you? Welcome. Okay. I don't know. That might have to be the futures market, the hay, but I don't know about it. But an ETF for hay. Let me know if you have one. Anybody else? Let's take a look at some of our big boys like Google. All right. Google's one that had run way up. Okay. And then we were expecting a pullback. All right. On this. And we got it. And now it's trending back up for the entire year so far. Okay. So it's moving up quite a bit. Our target on Google here is eventually going to be up in this area here. But I think probably before you get there, you're kind of due for a pullback here at some point. So let's see what happens with that. I wouldn't not go into it right now. Let's see. Let's get the pullback. I think I could probably get you in at a better price, probably like around 115 or 110, and we're at 133. All right, let's take a look at Amazon. Okay, so Amazon, same type of thing. It had a run up after a pullback, and now we're starting to get that pullback. So I think this is what's going to happen to Google at some point here. So I would hold off on that for right now. Okay, you might get one more high, but you know, you had the pullback here with another high. I think it's probably going into a correction here. So let's just see where this thing could be going before it could resume. Pretty close. Okay, possibly a little more downside. So I'd give it a little more time. All right, on Amazon. All right, so let's see. I covered gold. I covered that. How about cryptos? Let's take a quick look at the crypto market. Billy, I know you do like crypto, so let's take a look there. All right, so crypto's kind of treading its way sideways on this. As you know from my previous analysis, I think we've got a major bottom in here on cryptos. That would be here. All right, we had a nice move off that bottom. This was kind of a crazy bar that occurred there. And now we're moving sideways. All right, so, you know, we got a little bit of red here. We got green here. So we may be perking back up. So if you're thinking about going into cryptos and you don't necessarily want to put your money into it now, wait for it to break above this area here. You almost got like a channel. See that channel right there? So you could be trading other things. And then when that breaks, you go long. If it breaks to the downside, wait, okay? And let's see how far down it goes before it reverses, because I do think it will reverse. So I'm bullish on cryptos. If you're long-term on cryptos, well, this is a buy and hold here with a stop as far down here as you possibly can do. And if you can't do it that far, do it below this price bar here, okay? Give it a few ticks under that. But you certainly could be long on that. There's no options on cryptos. All right, Coinbase is another one we were looking at here. This has kind of been bouncing along the bottom as well. All right, but again, overall long-term, we're bullish on this. Short-term, though, we have a red PTF on the 60, so it looks like it's coming down. All right, coming down a little bit. So I would hold off on that right now until this messiness kind of gets out of the way. And then we got RIOT blockchain here, all right, coming down as well. But at least we don't have any red PTFs on the daily and on the 60-minute chart. So that's a good sign. If you're in it long-term, just keep your stop at the bottom, way down here. All right, because there's your first run up. Now you're getting your first run back. This could be a double bottom if it holds, and then it should go. Okay, so I would kind of hold off a teeny bit more on that until the lower time frames are a little bit more bullish on that. And that's kind of on the crypto market. All right, anything else? Anything else? Going once, going twice. So the one I see today is ZM so far, and that would be for a long-term situation. And I think at this particular point, you know, the market's kind of iffy right now. All right, we've seen some selling in the market. So it's not surprising that we don't have a ton of these like we did earlier in the run, right? All right, let's take a look at NKLA. And this one is for Alexander, okay? All right, so this is one that has slipped way down, all right? And this bottom held. Check this out on the weekly chart. So this bottom held. All right, now we're getting a move off there. But this is is keeping me from jumping into this at this time. All right. So if you're in it already, this is just classic. So here's the big move up. All right. Pyramids did a great job if you were trading just that move up. But if you're trying to take this to a higher place way up here, all right, you have to keep the stop at the bottom, because after that first move up, this is where you get the big move down to test the bottom. So the bears try to bring it back down. And if they can't penetrate that bottom and it bounces back up, that's a good sign. All right. Now, this is red. All right. Indicating that unless this goes green, do not go long, because this is saying we're going to get one more push to the downside. Now, if the bottom holds, great. But if we get a push to the downside and it exceeds that bottom, then of course, any longs are going to be shaken out at that particular point. So we have to wait and see if that bottom holds. But it looks like with this red PTF, I can't recommend it right now. Okay. We have to hold off on that. Again, if you're long, that stop needs to be at the bottom. Okay, anything else? I posted a video last week on the overall markets itself. So be sure to see that, because that's going to give you an idea of my analysis on the markets. And also I cover the housing market on that too. So that is on my YouTube channel here. And I think you can find that fairly easy, because it's one of the most recent videos I've done posted in the general area. All right, let's quickly run over and take a look at maybe what the markets are doing on the intraday basis here. We'll see what's cooking. Let's start out with the MES here. All right, so the MES, a little bit on the messy side, coming down, obviously. Got red on the PTFs on the lower time frames. So when we look at day trading time frames, we actually move them way, way down. All right, the chart on the left is just a 15-second chart. The chart in the middle is a 1-minute chart. All right, and the chart on the right is a 5-minute chart. So the long-term chart is a lot different on this than it would be on any of the position trading timeframes. So this is heading down right now, okay? But it's also been kind of a interesting morning, because after it reached up on a top here overnight, then it's been selling off. You're going to find that probably true on many, many of the markets. Here's the NASDAQ right now coming down, okay? And it's probably coming down to a retracement level because we had bearish divergence. So probably you want to be kind of looking for more short trades on the equities right now. Let's take a look at gold here. Gold eventually sold off. All right, kind of expecting that yesterday, and eventually happened. All right, so there's that. And then the crude oil, let's check out that bad boy, sold off, selling off as well. Crude's kind of an interesting market, because when it trends, it really trends. Gold is kind of a difficult market to trade on these very short-term time frames, simply because liquidity tends to dry up about 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, and you know, you don't get the bigger moves then as much. So crude oil tends to be a pretty liquid market for the most part throughout the trading day, and this one trends like crazy when it does. So make sure you use your stops in case you also get caught going the wrong way. All right, and then this is the Dow futures up here. All right, and again, it's kind of coming down a little bit right now. So a little bit of a messy market, probably a market to probably stay flat on for the most part until things get not quite so volatile. You can see the volatility even in the 5-minute chart there. All right, so I think that's it for today. All right, good to have everybody here. So I'm going to go back to ZM for a minute, because that seems to be the one that I think so far seems to be the good one today. And this would be a long-term trade, but so it's not really a short-term trade, but you've got everything pointing for the most part in the right direction. And you just want to put your stop as low as you can on this one, okay? All right, so there it is. So I'm going to recommend ZM for this week. I think that looks like the best one. The others, wait, we'll take a look at those next week. Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. I will put some music on and I'll run it over. I'm going to run it over. Let's run it over and just keep it on the oil market here for a little bit and see how that's doing. You'll probably get a rebound at this point on oil after it's trended. Pyramids did a great job capturing that move down. Let's draw a couple of fibs here. So probably reaching its way up into this target area at the very least. All right, I'll leave it here, put music on. You guys have a great weekend and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks so much for coming.